So here in Milwaukee, we're still in the middle of winter. However, our housing market is already starting to heat up. What do I mean by that? Well, in the last couple of weeks, I showed a number of homes to my buyers. We even submitted on a couple, and we were told that our offer was not even the third highest or so. We offered $10,000 over list, and it was a multiple bid scenario. There was a total of 6 offers, including ours, and my buyer even waived the inspection. And we were told that even with that, our offer was not one of the best terms. That is a complete 180 from just a couple months ago, where I was able to get my buyers $10,000 under list price, seller credit, and inspection. So what caused that quick turnaround in the market all of a sudden? Well, interest rates, of course. We're no longer in the 7s. We are in the low 6s to even the high 5s. And this is causing a lot of buyers to, hey, I got to get out there and I got to buy before the spring market comes. So everybody is trying to get ahead of the seasonal peak market. And in doing so, they are in turn heating up the market quicker even before the usual peak buyer season. And it is showing in the local market activity. Last week, I showed a home, and there were literally like 5 other buyers there with their agents looking at the home. In fact, I thought it was an open house, but it wasn't. So it's quite busy right now in the market. So how can you, as a home buyer, buy a home in 2023 in our local Milwaukee area market? So real quick, let me welcome you to my channel. My name is Laura Vang. I am a local real estate agent in the Milwaukee metro market with eXp Realty, and I help serve home buyers, sellers, and investors. Thank you so much for stopping in. If you appreciate the content that I'm sharing, I would really like it if you could subscribe, hit the like button, and the bell icon so that it helps to spread my video to the audience out there who may need it as well. And so let's get into how you can buy a home in today's market in 2023. And it all starts with preparation and building your team. Making the proper preparations and building the right team around you will be key to successfully getting you into a home in 2023, which is already proving to be a competitive market. The very first team member that you need to find on your home search process is a real estate agent that you like and you trust. And so you will want to interview a couple of potential candidates. And you want to check that they are experienced, meaning that they have a track record of success in your local market. Do not choose someone who is not working in the actual market. And you may even want to go further and ask if they have knowledge specifically on certain neighborhoods that you're interested in. Because agents who have a pulse on the market, they should be able to tell you right off the top of their head, oh, what does a home in that neighborhood go for a 3-bedroom, for a 2-bedroom? And so these are the type of agents that you want to have on your team, the ones who actually know what is going on in the market at that minute, at that time right now, and where it might go. In addition, you want an agent that is able to provide you with solutions and options, because challenges will arise, and you don't want an agent who doesn't know how to handle those challenges when they arise. And so they should be able to provide you solutions instead of more problems. And in addition, check to see if they have a network of other real estate professionals, because you will need them when the time comes. So great, you've got your real estate agent on your team now that you want to work exclusively with. And then the next most important team member that you need to find is now a loan officer, because this person is going to give you the money to buy that home that you want. So where do you look to find loan officers to work with? Simple. You ask your real estate agent that you just hired, because they are connected to real estate professionals, right? And so you go to them and you say, hey, based on your experience working with other loan officers out there, do you have a top 3 list of loan officers that you think would work well for my situation? And so your real estate agent should be able to produce these contacts right away for you. And you will want to call them all, talk to them all, interview them, find out what their communication style is like, what their experience is like, and all the different loan programs that they can offer you. So with loan officers, it is slightly different in that you don't have to pick an exclusive loan officer right away. This is because your plan to buy a home may change along the way. So that in the beginning, you may be thinking, okay, I want to buy a home in this specific location, then it's turnkey. But then as you start shopping with your realtor, you will realize that in this specific location with turnkey, it is too expensive for your budget. And so you may shift and pivot to say, oh, well, I might be okay with the fixer upper now. And so one loan officer that you initially thought you were going to use doesn't have a program for fixer upper homes. But this other loan officer that you had previously talked to in the beginning and got a pre-approval with already, now you can pivot and you can use that loan officer's program to get you into that home. So in the beginning, you will want to apply for a mortgage with the top 2 or 3 loan officers that you were recommended with. So that gives you the ability to potentially switch, because you only have to really pick the loan officer that you're going to use in the loan program at the time of the offer. So great, now you have your list of top 2 to 3 loan officers that you will potentially be working with. From here, you want to submit your loan application with each one of them so that you can get pre-approved. And don't worry about the myth that you hear that when you submit multiple loan applications, your credit score is going to get hit hard. As long as you do it all within the same 1 to 2 week period, it will look as if one hard credit pull only. And even if your credit score drops, it's only going to drop a couple points, and then it will bounce back within the next month or so. So again, very important. Do your loan applications all at the same time within the same 1 to 2 week period. So after you've submitted your loan application and provided all the necessary documents, your taxes, your bank statements, and your recent paychecks, well, now you want to confirm with your loan officer that your pre-approval will actually be fully underwritten. And what this means is that an underwriter at the lender will verify and review all your documents that you presented to them. And so now being fully underwritten means that you as a buyer are fully qualified to buy a home, and the only thing that you need left is to actually get an accepted offer on a home. And so there will be no question that you are financially sound to buy a home. And this goes a long way when you are submitting offers to sellers, because they have full confidence in you, in your financial capability to buy a home. So it's almost as good as a cash offer. Another very critical piece of information from a pre-approval is how much money is the lender willing to borrow you to buy that home. And so with that knowledge in mind now, you know exactly with confidence how much home you can afford, and so that now you can shop in the right price range. So now that you know exactly with confidence how much home you can afford, the next most critical step is to fine-tune your home search criteria so that you can look for your home efficiently and quickly. So with this, I like to tell my buyers to start with the most important factors that you cannot change about a home, such as number 1, location. And so you want to choose your top 1 to 2 locations that you would like your home to be in. Think about things like your commute, the school district, things like that. And so when you start looking in a specific location and you want to say look for a 3-bedroom home, you will start to see that, okay, hey, the prices for 3-bedroom homes in this specific neighborhood or city goes for about this price. And you will know that, hey, if that price is too high above your budget that the lender is going to give you, then you will either need to pivot and adjust. If going to a 2-bedroom is a deal breaker for you and your family, then you will need to shift location to either a different neighborhood or a different city where the home price is a little bit better for the home features that you are looking for. So as I said, location is something you can't change, but you can always adjust the home features to match your budget. So you could go from, say, turnkey to, say, a home that needs a little bit of TLC. Or if you really want to get some sweat equity in there, then you'll want to look for a fixer-upper job that will require a lot of work. So now that you have a crystal clear picture of the home that you are looking for, your real estate agent will go ahead and set you up with an automatic email subscription for new listings that match your home search criteria, and you will get emails as soon as those new listings hit the market. So in a very competitive market, you will want to check your emails frequently and take a look at those listings as soon as you see the email come across. And if it is a good candidate, you will want to schedule a showing with your real estate agent immediately, because these homes will be flying off the shelf as soon as one day, or even sometimes in the same day that they hit the market. So, as you can imagine, you may start getting a lot of emails about new listings. And so here are my tips for my buyers so that they can quickly qualify if a new listing meets their criteria. So, number one, of course, check the address, make sure it is in the right location. Sometimes the listing agents have the wrong address. Then you want to check number of bedrooms, number of bathrooms, square footage of the home, make sure it meets your minimum criteria so that it's not too small or way too big for your family. And then, of course, check the lot size so that it is a adequate size that you are looking for. And then from there, also check to make sure, does it have central air? I know a lot of buyers, depending what weather location you're at, this could be critical. And then from there, you want to also read the description carefully. Sometimes the listing agents will note significant updates that have been done recently to the home, as well as any potential issues being disclosed. And then from there, you will want to check out the condition report to check if there are any major defects being disclosed by the seller. So now you can take a look at the listing photos that are included. And I always recommend buyers to look at those pictures on the max window setting, whether you're on your phone or on the computer is better. And this is because there are small details that can easily be missed when you are staring at pictures on a small screen. And even harder these days is to discern between reality and what has been photoshopped. A lot of agents and photographers out there are using filters as well as virtual staging to make pictures look better than they are. And so when you show up to the house, it doesn't really look like what you saw on your phone or on your computer. Now, this last tip to qualify the property before you even pick up the phone to call your agent or text them that you want to take a look at this property can save you a lot of time, is you want to put that address in Google Maps. And what you want to do is do an aerial view. Study what buildings are next to it, what's across the street from it, what's nearby. Also, you want to do a street view as well. And this can easily determine whether or not you are interested in the home based on the exterior of the home. Is there an alley? Is there a driveway? Is there a commercial building nearby that you would hate to live by? Because, as you know, once you buy that home, that location is stuck there. This extra step can save you a ton of time by allowing you to see exactly what is around the home that is not being shown in the listing photos, such as if you don't want to live next to a huge giant apartment complex because of the traffic and the noise, or if there's a gas station across the street, well, simply doing a Google Street View will clear this up for you, and so you don't even have to waste your time requesting to see it, drive out there in person, and then realize this isn't going to work for you. All right, so now you've qualified a couple listings that passed your verification tests, and you will want to now tell your real estate agent about these homes that you would like to schedule as soon as your agent can get you in there. And you want to do this because in a hot market, homes probably won't last more than 1 to 3 days, sometimes even only a couple hours of being on the market. And so this is very important to have the ability to get out and see the homes as soon as you and your agent are available to. And another thing is you want to make sure that you show up on time, because in a hot market sometimes the listing agents or the sellers will not allow multiple showings at the same time, or what they call overlap showings. And so this puts a limit on the amount of people that can actually see the home before somebody submits an offer that gets accepted. So if you wait too long, then you can't even book a showing to see the home. So that is why it is important to communicate with your real estate agent and coordinate so that you guys can get out there and see the home and potentially submit your offer. Now, before you even walk through a home, you will need to mentally prepare yourself to have the mindset and the mission that when you're walking through this home, you're not just simply walking to take a look, you're not window shopping. You are there to qualify right away by the end of that showing, whether or not you are interested in submitting an offer or not. That should be your goal for every single showing. And you may not have a second showing, especially in a competitive market. There may not be extra time for you to even sleep on it because homes in this competitive type of environment are not lasting more than 1 to 3 days. Sometimes they disappear within the same day of listing. And so you really do not have the luxury of viewing homes, taking your time and thinking about it, sleeping on it. By then, it'll be gone. So that is why it also pays off to see homes as soon as possible when they get listed. Otherwise, you will miss out. So fantastic, you finally found a home that you would like to put an offer in on. So what things do you need in order to submit an offer? Well, the first thing would be, how much do you want to buy that home for? So come up with a purchase price. And then number 2, talk to your loan officer and get a recent pre-approval letter that shows you're qualified to buy a home up to a purchase amount at least equal to what you want to buy that home for. Number 3 is to decide on how much earnest money you would like to put into escrow should your offer get accepted by the seller. And then number 4, decide whether or not you want to do a home inspection contingency. And then number 5 is if you want to take the finance contingency to protect your offer should your loan fail. And then number 6 is if you want to utilize an appraisal contingency to protect your offer if the appraised value of the home comes in lower than what you are offering to buy it for. And then last is any other terms that you would like to offer in your purchase contract to the seller. Okay, so let's break it down a little bit further. How do you come up with a good purchase price? Well, you can ask your real estate agent to run recent comps for you of the most similar homes they can find that have recently sold in the area that are of similar styles and condition. And this will give you a good idea of what those homes sold for, how much they sold above or below the list price, and how long those homes actually lasted on the market. That will give you a very good idea of how competitive it is in this specific neighborhood for this style of home. And so now you kind of know what the value is of that home compared to what the list price is and how much you might really want to buy that home so that you can come up with the best price that you can. In regards to the pre-approval letter, you want to make sure that it is fairly recent, no older than say a month, especially in a volatile interest rate market where it fluctuates from 0.5% to 1%, because at the time when you first applied for a loan, let's say the interest rate went up by 1%. Well, if you're shopping at the upper limits of your pre-approved budget, well, now you may not be qualified to purchase a home in that price range anymore. And so stay in touch with your loan officer, have them double check and update your pre-approval letter, as well as request that they go up to bat for you when you submit that offer. You want them to call the listing agent and talk to them and say a couple good words about how qualified you are as a buyer because you have a fully pre-underwritten pre-approval letter, and that all you need to do now is qualify the home and make sure that you like it, and then you are ready to close and you would be a great buyer for their seller's home. And this goes a long way in the eyes of a seller as well as a listing agent as far as confidence in your offer. So earnest money is a show of good faith to the seller that you are a serious buyer trying to purchase their home, and it is typically 1% of the purchase price. However, to make your offer look stronger to the seller, you may want to consider putting as much as 2 or even 3% for your earnest money amount. And earnest money does not need to be sent in until after the seller has accepted your offer. In addition, the earnest money does count towards the down payment of the home. So there really shouldn't be too much of an issue to put a larger earnest money down, because that still will be counted towards your down payment. And lastly, your earnest money is protected you can back out of the deal and get your earnest money back if you back out for protected contingencies that you have stated in your offer, such as inspection, finance, or appraisal. But if you back out for any other reasons beside these, or you let your contingencies expire, then you certainly do risk losing your earnest money. A home inspection is a pretty common procedure that most home buyers will perform. However, it is not an absolute requirement when you are buying a home, and it's just something that the home buyer can choose to do or not to do. And in a competitive market, you do have some buyers willing to waive this to make their offer more competitive for sellers. However, it is again up to the decision of the home buyer. A real estate agent should not persuade a buyer to waive their home inspection rights. Ultimately, it is the buyer's choice. And the purpose of the home inspection is to determine if there are any significant defects present in the home at the time of purchase. However, do note that even if you have a home inspection done, there's no guarantee that there are going to be no defects in the future of that home, because the home inspection is only a test at one point in time, and you cannot predict what might happen in the future. If you decide to take an appraisal contingency protection, this protects your earnest money in the scenario where the appraised value of the home comes in less than what you are offering to purchase it for. And this is a problem because a lender only is willing to lend out as much money as what the appraised value of the home comes back at. And so if you offered a higher price, then you either have the option of you pay the difference between what your offer price is and the appraised value, or you can negotiate with the seller to either come down to meet the appraised value or some kind of halfway point. In addition, the appraisal contingency, now if the seller is unwilling to make any adjustments, then that protects you from canceling your contract without a penalty to losing your earnest money, so you will get back your earnest money. Finance contingency is a very common contingency that is taken whenever a buyer is using a loan to purchase their home, because should their loan get denied, then they are protected to get their earnest money back. So this is a very common contingency. However, it is still something that you can waive if you decide to, and that is a risk that you as the buyer need to consider if you want to take or not. And it could strengthen your offer, but it could backfire by risking losing your earnest money. So it's up to you to decide. So other terms that you might consider putting into your offer are things like an escalation clause or a post-occupancy amendment to allow the seller to stay in the property after closing should they need to still find a place to move to. And sometimes this will strengthen your offer, because if the seller does tell you that, hey, I'm still looking for a place, and your offer allows them to do that, then you might have a better offer than someone who is not allowing them. Other things are seller credit that you can ask for, or even if you want to, you can offer to pay the seller's closing costs, and that might help you to win an offer. Other things might be if you wanted a home warranty to be paid from the seller to you at closing, then you could write that into the offer as well. Awesome. So now you've put together your offer and you have submitted it. So one of two things will likely happen ultimately. Ultimately, your offer either gets rejected or it gets accepted. And so if it gets rejected, then you have to go back to the drawing board and repeat the previous steps until you get an accepted offer. But if you got an accepted offer, then congratulations. Now we can move on to the next step in the home buying process. Okay, so your offer got accepted. Now the real work starts for you. And so if you thought it was hard just to find a house and get the offer accepted, well, now you're going to really find out what it takes to buy a home. And so once your offer gets accepted, the clock starts to tick. And so from this point, you have two really urgent things to take care of right away. One will be you will need to send in the earnest money amount, whatever you have written in your offer, within X amount of days that you need to send that money into. And the listing agent will either tell you to send it to their firm to hold, or a title company or wherever they want it to go. And so those instructions will come from your agent. So your buyer agent will tell you exactly where to send the earnest money check, who to make it out to, and when it is due. And so that will be one of the first things you need to do. The second thing you need to do, if your offer has a home inspection contingency, then you and your agent will want to coordinate to find a home inspector to get in there ASAP. And of course, your home inspection contingency only has so many days to be completed. And so the earlier, the better. So for sure, ask your agent to have some referrals to you of past home inspection companies that they've used, and then you can call those guys up and schedule a home inspection. So after the home inspection, if there are any major concerns, you can try to negotiate with the seller to have those repaired or give you a credit for the repair in the future. Alternatively, you can back out if you're within the inspection contingency if it's a significant defect that is a deal breaker for you, and then you would get your earnest money back. But let's assume that everything goes well and you are able to move forward. Now your lender will start their side of the work. So in the background, the underwriter is going to keep working on your file, and they're going to order the appraiser to go out there and do the appraisal. So that will get scheduled as well. And then your loan officer will also open up escrow with a title company for your side of the transaction. So now they're going to do the things like checking the title of the property to make sure that the seller is able to sell the home. The home does not have any legal hangups. And as well, they're going to check to see if you have any legal issues on your end that you might have to take care of before you can purchase the home. So this is what's going on right now at this point. And if the lender should require any additional documentation from you, please be sure to respond to your loan officer as soon as possible. So some things they might need are updated bank statements, check stubs, or any other critical pieces of information that they need from you. They will reach out to you. So be active and respond quickly to your loan officer so that the underwriter can keep things moving along and smoothly. Awesome. So now you've sent in all the documents required of you from your loan officer, and the underwriter is complete with your file as well as reviewing the appraisal report that came back successfully. And so now your loan officer is going to issue you a loan commitment. And this document essentially says that the lender is giving you the final approval and they will fund your loan. And so now you're pretty much good to go. And in a couple days, they'll send you the closing disclosure, which is an even more detailed breakdown of your entire loan, what fees there are, what's your interest rate, what's your monthly mortgage payment, and what are all the costs involved in buying your home. And so you will review this with your loan officer a couple days before closing, and you will sign off on it. And then you are clear to close, meaning you can schedule closing, and you're just a couple days away from owning your home. At this point, there are still a couple days between now and closing, and there are a few things that you need to do still, such as changing over all the names of the utilities. So call the power company, call the gas company, call the water company. Make sure that your name is on all of those accounts, effective immediately upon the closing date. And you will also want to call the local internet company of your choice, as well as the cable company if you watch cable, and make sure that those installations are scheduled so that you can get them installed quickly for you when you move in. So the last thing that you should do before closing is a final walkthrough, and this is something that you schedule with your real estate agent to conduct prior to the actual closing, and you just want to check that the property is still in similar condition and that there was nothing obvious that the seller was hiding, especially like if the seller was still living there and they had, rugs or their paintings and stuff like that hanging on the walls. If, now that they've moved out, you just want to make sure that, there was no significant damage or something that was being covered up. And so this is your opportunity to check and verify that the home is still in good shape before you close on it. Closing day is here, finally. So what can you expect from closing day? Well, you should have been informed by the title company about how much funds you need to bring to closing. And that can either be in the form of a cashier check or it has to be wired into the title company. And so that's number one. Number two is bring yourself with your photo ID that is government issued and valid. And so you need those two things for closing. And then shake out your hand and stretch it because you're going to sign probably 100 pieces of paper right here. And so you'll be signing documents to transfer the ownership of the home to you, as well as finalizing the loan paperwork from your lender. And then after that is all done and the funds have been transferred over to the seller's side, then congratulations, you are now a homeowner. At this point, you'll also get the keys to your new home. And one of the things I recommend that you do, change all the locks right away. And then you can move into your new home. Congratulations on that purchase. So, in a nutshell, this is the entire home buying process explained. And if you would like this in a printed format, I actually have a home buyer's guidebook that I made. It's probably about 30 plus pages with a checklist and tips and strategies for you to use. So if you would like a copy of that, feel free to send me a message or comment below and I will make sure to get it out to you. So thank you so much if you're still watching at this point. And if you find value in the content that I'm sharing on my channel, I would really appreciate it if you consider subscribing. Hit the like button in this video so that others will see it as well, and the bell notification so that you are alerted when my new videos come out. So thank you again for watching. I will see you in the next video.